reminding me that he needs a ship so we can pick up some medical supplies for this field hospital that we're building on the college. And you wonder why the Monkey is so popular out here. We'll do whatever you want, but can't we at least have our insulin? Go to hell! The sheer figures her extreme irritability is due to being overworked. My diagnosis is that you are overworked. But suffering from extreme stress and borderline exhaustion. That's my prescription. I'm on that exam table because Bejo is getting occupied again tonight. But instead of deep throat 9, he drags her to Quarks and tells her to have fun of the decidedly non-sexual kind. Who can put a stop to that? Will Riker, winner of the James C. Kirk Medal with clusters. Then he's inexplicably in Cisco's office. Nice beard. I was thinking of growing a goatee myself. Just so long as there's no identical copy of you out there. Otherwise, you'll be the evil one. Kira's overloaded schedule seems to have lightened up, since she has plenty of time to gaze forlornly at the office where the two are talking, despite telling Dax that all she did with Riker last night was talk for 3 hours. I'm really doing my best not to fill this review up with sexual innuendo, but the episode sure ain't making it easy for me, as even Dax can't stop trying to get her to admit towards anything untoward regarding Riker, a.k.a. Willie the Bareback Kid. Later, Riker literally runs into her again, and since she offers him a tour. Behind me, you'll see David Tennant's band. One of those stops at the Defiant, where the two are scanned and then allowed aboard. O'Brien's waiting, but I'm not waiting. I heard you were aboard, but I haven't something to say to you, O'Brien. I think you know why. Geez, you beam a guy into a war zone just once without his clothes, and he never lets you live it down. Kira's good enough to ignore this unexpected tension and talk some more about the ship. I'm sorry, Riker, but that's luck. You know, just to make sure some maniac doesn't try to hijack the ship and try to start a war or something. But then again, if she gives Riker access to the ship, maybe she'll also get access to the contents of his pants. So she disables all security in the name of love. Then watches Riker possibly literally pulls a phaser out of his ass to shoot her. Two people beam aboard while Riker contacts DS9, claiming that a plasma conduit ruptured. That's one of the main jobs of plasma conduits. And in so doing, injured Kira, and that the ship is seconds away from exploding. The docking clamps are released so he can pilot the Defiant to a safe distance, but instead the Defiant goes to war. Man, why would Riker be doing something like this? Oh, goatee, well, that explains it. This must be the evil one. This requires a bit of TNG backstory. Oh, and photos will be good enough to explain it to Dukat. There was this transporter accident less than a decade ago where Riker was beaming up from this place where conditions only allowed safe passage every 8 years. There was a problem, and so with a little jiggery pokery to save him, they accidentally wound up with 2 Rikers, one on the transporter pad, one left on the planet, spending the next 8 years thinking they'd abandoned him or given him up for dead, rather than having an exact double running around living his life. Because of the nature of the accident, either one had a real claim on being the more real of the two, and they didn't get along well at all. Our Riker's seen all the flaws from his past that he's grown past as he settled into command. The other Riker's seen some dickwad who got all the breaks, but wasn't above reminding him of that. In the end, he went off to work on the USS Gandhi under the name of Thomas Riker.
There was no way for the security computer to know that it was Thomas, not William, who bought the Defiance.
How unfortunate security breach. Imagine how bad things would be if your enemies were shapeshifters. Oh, that's right. I'm so glad you take their threat so seriously. With security like this, I'm surprised the Defiant isn't in the hands of the Maquis. It isn't it? It is, isn't it? Transporter security systems. Is there anything where people can't screw up? Any Federation starship would pose a threat, but handing the Maquis Ben Sisko's motherfucking tip hand is like giving Al-Qaeda their own fully armed B-2 bomber. You can only call for a swift, indecisive search before it causes too much damage. Sisko says that any movement into the zone is going to need to be a joint operation, but Dukat points out that if both sides send ships into a volatile situation, somebody somewhere is going to eventually make a mistake that will lead to a shooting war. Sisko suggests that he personally join with Dukat in the Central Command in the search for the Defiant, as he's the person who knows that ship best. But Dukat leverages his position. While Sisko wants to just disable it, Dukat wants to destroy it. Any ship that powerful in the hands of someone besides the Central Command is a threat that he would like to get rid of, and this provides him with the excuse. So to avoid a war, Sisko's got no choice but to work with Ducat to hunt down the Defiant. Kira's again conscious, and Riker learns that of all the people to kidnap, she was probably the worst. If this is a person who can't smile without a doctor's order, imagine how they're going to feel after being used and shot. He confides her for the time being. By the way, this lady at the helm is Kalita from TNG's preemptive strike, while Ro Laren joined the Maquis, so that makes sense. Ro was someone Riker might approach to help him join up with the Maquis. Sisko and Ducat soon arrive at the Central Command, where Ducat boasts that he can command the whole Cardassian fleet from this center. Well, no beating around the bush here. Boreanaz of the Obsidian Order also shows up. The OO is their spy network operating at home and abroad, and that's how they aren't surprised when Sisko reveals the Defiant has a cloaking device, unknown from the Romulans, that's only supposed to be used in the Gamma Quadrant. Ducat's concerned that terrorists may not respect the wishes of the Romulan government, so Sisko provides the information on an anti-proton beam the Dominion used to find the Defiant once while it was cloaked. Not a lot of good that does them, because the Maquis tricked the Cardassians into following the wrong ship so the Defiant is free to fly in, and stuff the outpost's anti-proton beam up its ass and take off, despite Sisko's help.
Commander Sisko, you should be convinced. I only wish we had someone with such keen tactical instincts who could have prevented this invasion of our territory.
Obsidian Order, bitch. Ducat's father was tortured and executed because of Garrick as part of his work for the Obsidian Order. So as you can imagine, there's no love lost between him and the Obsidian Order. That was important. While the Cardassians have accomplished dick so far, Kira's managed to use a replicator panel to disable the Defiant for the time being. And it makes Riker wonder why she'd be willing to risk death to protect the Cardassians. But she turns it around to ask why he's so determined to do this. No one else has tried dragging a Starfleet ship into the war despite the defections to the Maquis cause. But Riker's not thinking like a subversive. He's thinking more in terms of large-scale military action than insurrection and wearing down resolve. That's why Sisko's confused as he tries to anticipate the Defiant's moves. With Ducat, well, you can see what he's getting up to right now. Yeah, the Obsidian Order lady sure was wrong about you, Ducat. Sure is lucky Cardassians got you on the case.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commander. I was thinking about my son's birthday.
This picks up a thread from the Maquis, where Ducat said he had 7 kids. Though here it's far more obvious that he's telling the truth rather than a potential manipulation. We all know everyone has their private lives, but still, I don't know. It's like imagining Hitler puttering around the house in his pajamas on a Saturday morning. Das make that schnitzel pan. Yeah, that's it. Hello? Nine, it's my day off. No. Fine, I'll be right down there. God, I need a cigarette. Ducat's conversation with Sisko provides the universal link of fatherhood. Ducat lamenting that he was to take his son to Six Flags over Cardassia, like he always wanted, because he could never find the time to do it. This is a continuation of the effort to form Ducat into a more multidimensional character.
When my son looks back on this day, the only thing he'll remember is that a Federation officer on a Federation ship invaded his home and kept his father away from him on his 11th birthday. And he won't look back with understanding. He'll look back with hatred. And that's sad.
With the Defiant mostly repaired, they head out to attack what Riker suspects is a secret base that will be used to make ships to annex the DMZ. Kira's a bit flabbergasted at his approach because she knows exactly how terrorists operate, and this isn't it.
No? You're trying to be a hero. Terrorists don't get to be heroes.
Thomas Riker's motives are not just to help the Maquis, but to set himself apart from Will Riker. The other Riker who saved the Federation from the Borg attack and has been offered command of his own, while Thomas has been forced to languish for years before being allowed to return, only to live in his own shadow. Whatever Riker's motives are, there definitely is something out there. When Sisko notes the pattern of the attack, leaving the Orion sector vulnerable, Ducat tries to send in a patrol ship, but the Obsidian Order won't allow it. Even threatens to destroy any ship Ducat sends in. When the Defiant is found and Ducat sends his ships to chase after it, 3 Cardassian warships come from the Orion sector to stop them. under the control of the obsidian order. Yeah.